Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I want to talk to you today about Panchakarma. You know, I get so many requests asking about what is Panchakarma. Is it about punching your karma? Well, that's not so far off, actually, because in Ayurveda, Panchakarma is the most powerful transformational therapy. It was reserved for only the kings and queens in ancient times because it was such an elaborate process and it took so much effort to perform, but that would provide at least the leaders to have clarity of mind and make good judgments. Panchakarma is a detoxification technique, but you got to remember, it's not just about detoxing the body. First step in Panchakarma is to reset the ability to digest, because if we become toxic and the toxic chemicals, environmental pollutants, pesticides, preservatives, heavy metals end up in our fat cells or in our brain, we become toxic. Yes, we want to detoxify them. But more importantly, ask the question, why did they get in my fat cells? I have a natural detoxification system. Why didn't that take care of it? It actually should. So if I just go detoxify the body, and the liver is already overwhelmed, that's why I put it in the fat cells in the first place, the liver's going to go, well, don't look at me. We're going to move the fat from fat-soluble toxins from one fat cell to another fat cell, and next thing you know, you might even be in your brain. When many studies are now showing heavy metal toxicity in people's brain tissue because it's an organ with lots of fatty tissue. So it's important to realize that if we have become toxic, there's a reason why. So step one in the Panchakarma process is to reset digestive strength, because your digestive system is your detoxification system. And if that breaks down, you're not going to digest well, and you're going to push toxins in your fat cells. Well, how do you know if you're not digesting well? Well, do we digest wheat and dairy and corn and nuts and soy and heavy, greasy fried foods well? If you do, and you have a really strong, robust digestive system, that's a good sign. But if those foods bother you, then you may not be able to digest them. If you can't digest hard to digest foods, are you digesting or detoxifying hard to detoxify substances? For example, most of America is covered by coal mine plumes that carry mercury from the coal mines and the electrical plants that burn coal on all the vegetables in America, even the organic ones. So when you eat those, even if you wash them, you have to break down that mercury. It's a hard to digest fatty substance. And if you can't digest greasy fried food well or wheat and dairy well, you probably don't have the digestive strength to break that down, and the body's just going to store it in the fat because it doesn't get broken down. Panchakarma is about resetting the digestion first. Then it's about detoxifying the fat cells. But more importantly, what's in the fat are not just toxins, but molecules of emotion, stored up molecules of emotion. Old patterns and behaviors of behavior and belief systems that we may have created many, many years ago as children are still being projected on the screen today as adults. They're stored in our fat. You go see your family during the holidays or whenever, and you begin to start acting like a 4-year-old again. Those are emotions stored in your fat cells that remotely make us think and do the same dumb stuff again and again. And at the end of the day, it's this crazy mind of ours that drives our body into imbalance. We know that we process our stress through our digestive system. In Ayurvedic medicine, they've said that for thousands of years. Now, according to research by Dr. Gerson in his book, The Second Brain, we know that 95% of the serotonin in the body is produced in your gut. Only 5% is here. So we truly do process our stress through the intestinal tract. It irritates the gut, it inflames the gut, it breaks down your digestion and your ability to detoxify. And that makes you also not able to cope with stress. As a response to that inability to cope with stress, we don't process emotional stress well. And those emotions are carried in the body by little peptides, little proteins. And they carry these emotions throughout the body, and they lodge in certain receptor sites. Research done at the National Institute of Health by Dr. Candace Pert in her book, The Molecules of Emotion, she discovered that emotions are actually real, and they're carried by peptides. And they're carried all throughout the body. And they lodge in these receptors. Well, they found out that these receptors are also used for your immune system and for your psychology and for all of your hormones and for your nervous system. And if these emotions block those receptors, the flow of this whole information network gets blocked, and it can cause the disease process. So here we have modern research saying that yes, old pent-up emotions will block the flow of the body's immune response and its health information network and can cause the body to break down and cause disease. In Ayurvedic medicine, thousands of years ago, they said that there is this thing called mental ama, toxins, emotional toxins, molecules of emotion that we store in our fat and our muscle. And they block the flow of the subtle energy system and directly cause disease. Basically, what was said 5,000 years ago has been basically resaid by the NIH recently, according to her book, The Molecules of Motion. Interestingly, is that these receptors that carry emotions and hormones, they are found in certain places, along your spine, along your respiratory tract, throughout your skin, and in your brain. And that just happens to be exactly where the Panchakarma techniques are focused. We do oil over your forehead to relax your nervous system. When people come here to LifeSpa for Panchakarma, they go into a retreat. 3 to 5 hours of yoga, breathing, and meditation every day, plus 2 therapists working on you to calm your nervous system and still your mind. The skin is used as a detoxification system, and that's where all these receptors are. You do lots of breathing techniques to activate the receptor sites, and of course yoga and massage on your spine. And all the places that these receptors are concentrated is exactly where Panchakarma was focusing thousands of years ago. It's a coincidence? I don't know. But the beautiful thing about Panchakarma, it's a time for you to turn the volume down and go into a retreat. How many of us, go, 90 miles an hour, day after day after day? How many take our car, we put it in the shop, it sits there for a week and does nothing? We never do that. We never turn the volume down, turn the thinking off, and let the lake become crystal clear and still. And in that silence, the body can see itself, organize itself, be aware of itself, recognize problems as problems, and begin to heal itself. And that's what Ayurveda is about, is to create less physical density, less physical stress, better physical function. Therefore, more mental clarity, so you can see what your crazy mind has conjured up. Take action steps through a process of self-inquiry or critical analysis to make transformational change in your life that can free you from old patterns that are banging away at your digestion and banging away at your good health and causing problems. And that's what Panchakarma is. It's an opportunity to make deep transformational change. There's an old saying that says, to the extent that something affects you, is to the extent that it's your karma. Karma really means action. So to the extent that someone or something affects you, is to the extent that it is an opportunity for you to take a transformational action step. But if you're so dense and tired and exhausted and stressed out, you can't see the forest through the trees. Panchakarma is about resetting digestion, creating less physical density, so we have that clarity to make those changes. Check my website out for more information about Panchakarma at lifespa.com. I've written an article that goes into detail and cites all the research that's been done that I talked about and more in this video. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.